Alright, so Infinite Forbidden is right around the corner, and I think we're in danger. Fiendsmith is going to be everywhere. Moon of the Closed Sky was just announced, which is huge, and I haven't even mentioned Mulcharmi Purulia. Nevertheless, info is going to be legal for both NAWCQ and Euros. So today we're going to be talking about top 5 decks getting boosted with this set and becoming really important contenders for both of these events and for the entire summer pretty much. Or, you know, until we get a ban list, which probably is not going to change much. But let's not get into that. Please like the video if you enjoy it, and also share your thoughts in the comments and let me know what you're going to be playing in this format. I'm pretty sure it's gonna have Fiendsmith in it. So let's hop right into the video with the first deck, which is of course Snake Eyes. And I already alluded to the Fiendsmith engine, so let's talk about that. Fiendsmith is insane. To put it mildly, it's literally like full Orcust combo in 2019. It's stupid, it's broken, it's busted, and it's going to help almost every single deck on this list. So what is the Fiendsmith engine? Why is it helpful for Snake Eyes as well? So I have all the cards pulled up and we're gonna discuss everything. Fiendsmith Engraver is their main monster. It is a 1-card combo, which of course it is, and it gets you to multiple end boards because you can decide what you need in that particular situation. With one Fiendsmith Engraver, you're going to be able to get to this entire combo and access the necessary bodies to make different monsters. So with Engraver, of course, you're able to search out Tractus, which is a spell card, which then gets you a Fabled monster, which I'm a huge fan of Fabled monsters. I think it's really cute that a Fabled is getting incorporated in here, but you know, it's for unhealthy purposes. So that's sad, I guess, but nevertheless, with this Fabled, you are able to access the extra deck portion of Fiendsmith, which their Link 1 is Requiem. And if we haven't learned anything by now, Link 1s are usually not that great for the game. So you make this with one Light Fiend monster, meaning you can utilize that Fabled, and then you continue with the combo. So with the effect, you are able to tribute it and access another Fiendsmith, which is again going to be the Engraver, with the other Engraver, which has many effects. One of them is the ability to special summon itself from the graveyard, so you immediately access another body. You essentially get to make their second link, which is Sequentia. So once you have link climbed to Sequentia, you can, with the effect, fusion summon one Fiend fusion monster from your extra deck by shuffling materials from the graveyard. So all you gotta do is make sure you keep one Engraver in the graveyard, because what you summon is a level 6 monster, which is really important. If it's fusion summon, you can target the Light Fiend monster in your graveyard or banishment and either add it to your hand or special summon it. So you are able to access the Fiendsmith that you left in your graveyard. So once your end board is looking a little something like this, you have multiple choices. You can either make Beatrice, which for some reason is still not banned, completely legal to abuse and utilize in this format and formats to come. You can also make Wave Hiking Caesar, which just protects you from Nibiru. And we'll talk about what Beatrice sends a little later. But what you can also make is Apollousa. Just simply go into an Apollousa with the help of your Engraver, which was a 1-card combo, so you haven't even committed to the normal summon. You probably ate a hand trap or two because your opponent knows what's coming. So with Beatrice, you can access your Snake Eye engine. So not only does this engine help you to be protected, to bait your opponent's interruptions, but it can also give you plays if you maybe didn't open one of your gazillion starters in Snake Eyes. So Beatrice can send whatever you want, which is probably going to be Snake Eye Ash, and then since you have a Link 2 and another body on the field, you can just easily make Promethean Princess with 2 effect monsters and, you know, special summon your play, continue with the full Snake Eye combo. I know it's degenerate. I know it's insane, and it's very scary to go into a Euros and NAWCQ format looking like this, but I guess the only hope we can have is that Snake Eye gets hit a little bit, because if it doesn't, not only do we have 3 Snake Eye Ash, 3 Wanted, 3 Diabellstar, 3 Bonfire, now we also have 3 Engraver, which is going to access your combos. So that's why Snake Eyes is getting boosted with this engine. It is completely busted, and yes, that's what's gonna be happening. That's what you're gonna be facing all the time. So let's move on to the next deck, which also features the Fiendsmith engine, and it's Yubel. So if you're a little more interested in, that type of deck as opposed to the fire stuff, I'm pretty sure Yubel is going to be really, really fun to play. Look, again, the Fiendsmith engine is broken, but if you can play it, why not do it? Here, I would like to take the opportunity to talk about another monster, which is Moon of the Closed Sky. I already mentioned it in the intro, but I do want to focus on this card right now. You can see it on the screen. The effect is not really that important. It's not bad at all, but when you look at Moon of the Closed Sky, it is way too reminiscent of Nightmare Mermaid. And I'm making a lot of Orcust and 2019 references in this video, but if you know anything from back then, two monsters make a nightmare makes a mermaid makes full Orcust combo. And right now, what we can do is easily make this link, which very, very conveniently is a Light Fiend monster. And since we talked about Requiem before, it requires a Light Fiend monster. So you can access your Fiendsmith engine just with the help of Moon of the Closed Sky. And why this card is really important is because it was actually a jump promo and we didn't know if we're going to be getting it. And now that they announced it, that's huge. That's like really, really important. So what can Yubel do with the access to Fiendsmith? Any of the three options I listed before, but of course you're not sending Snake Eye Ash with your Beatrice unless you're just edgy, I don't know. But you can send your Samsara D Lotus, which you can later revive, not with Promethean Princess of course, but you can make Muckcracker, which was always played in this deck because it's, a really good card, and you can just easily use its revive effect to access your Yubel combo. And again, you didn't commit to anything, you didn't normal summon, you probably ate a hand trap, and you still have a lot of resources to continue with your combos. So yeah, this engine does take up a little bit of extra deck space, but I guess this is a good downside if you can even call it that. So yes, Yubel is also going to be at the forefront of the meta because of Phantom of Yubel, which released in Battles of Legend. So this deck is going to be a deck to look out for 100,000%. But let's move on to the next deck. It's going to be Tenpai Dragon, and I can already tell you it's not utilizing Fiendsmith. So let's talk about Tenpai Dragon support. So they are getting one main deck monster, which is called Genroku, and if it's added to the hand except by drawing it, you can special summon it as a tuner, and you can also increase its level by 1. So just like Poplar, we're getting a lot of Poplar type effects. So quick effect, you can tribute this card, special summon a Tenpai Dragon monster from your deck, except itself. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of this turn except Dragon monsters, which you don't really care about, but you are able to get a free special summon and also, as a quick effect, access another Tenpai Dragon, which this is huge because Pydra was your one really good starter, and of course you have your field spell and stuff. I think this is really, really important for Tenpai because it did struggle with consistency a little bit, and just sometimes you were stopped on an effect if you didn't have your field spell up, which is just a stupid card. But it also received Adora Draco. So this is not part of the Tenpai Dragon archetype, but it's going to be part of the deck. It's a fire dragon, it's level 3, and it is non-tuner. So that's really nice for all your Tenpai Dragon combos. And as for the effect, if it's normal summoned, you can add one level 4 or lower Fire Dragon monster from your deck to your hand. So it's a really, really, really decent starter because what's a level 4 or lower Fire Dragon monster that can be special summoned once it's added? Of course, it's the Genroku. So these two go hand in hand, and it's just, it's nice support for the deck. So the other effect, not as great as the first one, but the first one is what we really care about. So this is amazing for Tenpai Dragon. If you're a fan, I'm pretty sure you're happy. Let's talk about another deck that utilizes Fiendsmith, because we haven't talked about this enough in this video. So Mementotlan. You can put Fiendsmith in this engine because what does Mementotlan mainly want to do is send Mementotlan cards to the graveyard. Now, it's a little bit of a complicated deck, so if you get into, the Mementotlan combos and stuff, props to you, because it doesn't seem like it's the Fiendsmith deck to really use right now. I think Snake Eyes is still way too dominant, and then Yubel is pretty much next to it, and Tenpai Dragon is really broken. So Memento Clan, I wouldn't say is the top meta deck of the format, but it has a lot of potential, specifically if we get a ban list that actually addresses some really, really problematic cards. So yes, let's talk about the support. You can obviously utilize Fiendsmith, like I said, but you also do have two pieces of support, which is directly for the archetype. So Memento Clan Mystical Sheep. If a monster in your possession was destroyed by card effect this turn, as a quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand, and on normal or special, you're able to fusion summon a fusion monster using monsters from your hand or field as material. If it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can send one Memento card from your deck to the graveyard except itself. An important piece of support for Memento Clan 100%, but they also got a fusion, which is really cool. It is called the Combined Conqueror. So it needs 3 Memento monsters, and you can banish this card from the graveyard to add a Memento Mictlan from your deck to your hand. If this card is fusion summoned, you can send 3 Memento cards from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard, which is like, that's huge. Like, that's a lot of fodder for your effect. And as a quick effect, you can target the same number of Memento cards you control and cards your opponent controls, destroy them. So really similar to how Melodious works also, but that's up to. I just love when it's like, you know, I pop my stuff, you pop your stuff. It feels a little more fair, but, you know, granted, Memento does trigger when it's popped by card effect, so it's probably not that fair. I just love the fact that it's that kind of effect. It's not like when your opponent activates a monster effect, negate it. Like, that's just boring, and we don't really like Omni negates or negates in general. But it is really broken because you can decide how many cards you want to pop, and sometimes you cannot play through a pop with like multiple cards getting destroyed. You just maybe don't have the extenders, so then you just lose to Memento Clan. But it's a really cool deck, so I think this is it's a really important part of today's list. And as for the last deck, I would like to leave it up to you guys. There is a lot of great support in this set. I would just quickly mention some decks. Centurion is getting support, Drytron as well, and Gimmick Puppets. So this one is huge because it's actually getting a lot of support, and I don't know, if I'm being honest with you, I just don't really like looking at them because they scare me. So I still need to get into that and really figure out what the Gimmick Puppet deck is all about right now with the new support. But there's also support for Ragnaraka as well as Madolche. So like, I think this set is kind of nice in terms of actually boosting up all their strategies. So please let me know what you think, which deck is actually worthy of making today's list, which one is actually going to be meta relevant. But as for the 4 we talked about today a little more in depth, I think they are all genuinely really good decks. Memento maybe not so much, but a ban list can fix that. So yes, I'm a little scared of the format to come. Fiendsmith is going to be everywhere, so if you can play it, you better do. And yeah, like the video if you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you figured out any cool combos and any cool stuff you can do with Fiendsmith and the other decks, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!